Very good morning to all of you. Myself, Mr. Mahbudur Rahman, Assistant Professor in the Department of Food Engineering in KKW College of Food Technology, Nasik. Today, I will cover a topic on selection of site and industrial buildings and ground. So, first of all, see that uh, the selection of site as per area, if we see, then it can be classified into three categories, that is our rural area, urban area and suburban area. So now first we will see that what is our rural area. In some cases, rural area that is selected to part to a production unit, government is to providing various incentives and subsidies to entrepreneurs to start plant in rural area instead of the urban area, right? So what are the advantages behind our rural area? So the advantages behind our rural area are, we can say that it is available in abundance with the cheap rate, large number of labor is available with less salary and wages due to lower standard of living, then taxes are not there in the rural area, more stable labors are available there, no hospital environment between labor and managers, no hostile environment between labor and managers, and no restrictions for height of building, drainage, etc. And last one, that our rural environment is healthy. Okay, and the disadvantage behind our rural areas, so the disadvantages are less transportation facility, poor communication facilities, less modernization, support industries are not available, unskilled labor are available in large number than skilled labor, water supply, drainage, firefighting facilities is not available, then poor education, entertainment, hospital facilities. So these are the disadvantages regarding our rural area. Now in urban area, it is exactly opposite to our rural area. Okay, so nowadays large plants are not allowed in cities, only offices are allowed. So what are the advantages behind our urban areas? We can say that all types of transportations are available there. In urban area, big market is available for the product, skilled labor are available, so need to train them, all municipal facilities like water supply, drainage, firefighting is available there, banking and insurance facilities are found good in cities, and all types of supporting industries are available, entertainment, education, hospital, postal services are available easily as compared to rural areas. And the disadvantage behind urban areas, okay, and the disadvantage behind our urban areas are higher land cost, higher labor cost due to high standard of living, due to availability of jobs, some restrictions are made by municipal in case of height of building, drainage, etc. Okay, and the last one, that is our suburban area. So here both city and rural areas have a certain limitation, due to which the trends towards suburban area which will take advantages of both the area and eliminate limitations. So the advantages of the rural area are, as compared to urban area, land is available at cheaper rate, adequate land is available for future expansion, skilled and unskilled laborers are available, training services for laborers are also available, infrastructure facilities like road, water, banking, etc. developed by government authorities or industrial associates, right? So the disadvantages behind this, after few years suburban area may be developed into urban area with its advantages and disadvantages, right? So in general, urban area provides benefit for small enterprises, whereas rural area provide benefit for large scale, but suburban area is suitable for medium size industries, right? Now next one is the building maintenance safety, right? So maintenance is defined as what? The work that is done on regular basis to keep a building in good working condition, right? Okay, so next one is the effective maintenance. So under effective maintenance, first we are seeing here that they prevent the process of decay and degradation, maintenance structural stability and safety, prevent unnecessary damage from the weather or from general uses, optimize performance, help inform plans for renovation, determination the cause of defects, and also help prevent recurrence or repetitions, ensure continued compliance with the statutory requirements, then maintain the assessed values of building. These are the effective maintenance which need. Okay, so in typical general practice, building maintenance will include our roof, gutters, walls, door, windows and porches, exterior surfaces, walkways, paths and car parks, step and handrails, interior or walls, floor and ceiling, stairs and lifts, services such as water pipe, water system, electrical wiring and gas supplies, fitting such as taps, sinks, toilet, radiators and light fittings and switches, then firefighting and warning equipment and fittings. Next one, intruder alarms, boilers and heating system, installations, modifications, and we can say that adaptation for disabled people, then furniture, and after furniture, equipment and lifted surfaces, right? Then grounds, it including fence, gates, paths, car park, lighting and walls, right? So these are our in typical general practice building maintenance which it include, right? Then next one, that is the building maintenance safety. Okay, so in building maintenance safety, it is essential that where the practice employ its own facility, staff and maintenance personnel, they should be adequate trained, okay, and be provided with suitable tools, be provided with personal protective equipment and clothing such as hard hats, overall, gloves and reinforced boots. So it is essential that all maintenance work carried out ensure the safety of not only the maintenance staff or contractors involved but also other staffs and service users. Okay, so where contractors are used, the practice manager still has a responsibility for their safety and to ensure that their activities do not compromise the safety of other users of the practice. As part of the selection process for a contractor, the manager should check their safety record and ensure that any contracted maintenance worker working on site are aware of the practices, health and safety policies and work within them all times. Maintenance work carried out by contractors should always be completed according to pre-agreed works plans as required under the construction. Okay, and the practice manager or the premises manager should inspect the work regularly and meet with contractor to discuss any safety issues. So maintenance tools should never be left unattended and should always be used safely and be locked away when finished with. Material which may be hazards such as glues, paint, varnishes, sealants and white sprays must always be used with safety guidelines. Okay, so okay, thank you for watching. Once again, thank you.